In this video, I will be going over how to help your students create their very own collaborative piece of art. For this project, I used two picture books, The Lion and the Mouse by Jerry Pickney and Surya and Roscoe, The Story of an Unlikely Friendship by Doc Antle. I also used some Smart Fab, which is great, but you can also use butcher paper or just whatever you have on hand. I had this on hand, so that's why I ended up using it, and just Crayola marker. I also used animal flashcards. Mine were really great. They had lots of facts about the animals and where they lived and what they ate on them, so it really helped the kids with this project. I read with my students the book The Lion and the Mouse by Jerry Pickney, and I say read because the book doesn't actually have any words in it. It's all wonderfully rendered images. So we kind of looked at it and I had them tell me what was happening in the pictures and what was going on in the story and how could they tell and what was the artist doing to help them with that. I passed out the animal flashcards that have all these great descriptions of all these different animals, and they were so excited about, especially the boys were excited about the Komodo dragon because they didn't know that dragons were real, and so they each got to pick their own animal, and then I had them write a little story about their animal like Jerry Pickney did without using any words. And so they were picking multiple animals and having their animals interact and fight with each other. They ended up creating some really lovely drawings off of it. The next class, my team teacher read them the story of Surya and Roscoe, an orangutan and a dog that made friends at an animal sanctuary. And when I returned to my class, we discussed the differences and similarities between the two stories. And like one has words and one doesn't, and they're both about animals. They knew that they had the right answer there. They're both about animals. And so I kind of led their discussion, and I kind of let them know that in addition to being both about animals, they're also both about relationships between animals and how even though the animals are very different, they can still get along. And so for the next part of this assignment, I had the students create a collaborative work of art. We were going to do it based off the animals, kind of like they had done their individual drawings of the animals. So I asked them how they wanted to decide which animals to draw about, and they said, oh, we need to put it to a vote. And so I got out the whiteboard markers and I was writing all the animals that they wanted, and then they all voted, and they ended up choosing a bunny rabbit as their main character. And the animals to come in second and third place also got to be in the story. So then I went around the room and called on various students, and they would all contribute what they thought the bunny rabbit would do in his adventure. So after they decided on their story, my students worked together to draw their story out on the rolled out sheet of fabric. And this took some cooperation, and it wasn't an easy thing because they are second and third graders, so they don't quite know how to relate to each other all the time. The next time we met, my students and I discussed the outcomes of making that collaborative work of art. We talked more about the central message of the stories, which was relating to each other and getting along. And I kind of asked them, like, how was the experience of working on this project together, and was it hard to get along with others? Which is really important in an elementary school setting. That's a large part of what we're trying to teach children in the second and third grade level, is how to get along with each other. It's not always the easiest thing, but ultimately they can learn a lot from not only about animals, but about how they relate to their friends and their classroom environment.